and give those official welcomes for the sake of you all, anyone still hopping on, for anyone who might join via on demand. Welcome to your 30-minute slow flow yoga. I'm Jen. Your yoga blocks or light dumbbells could be used just to give really great alignment support of your body today as we explore spine, hips, all the things. That's really it. We'll be a little strengtheny, stretchy today. So, as always, your practice, what feels best for you, take, leave. If you lay on your back to start practice and you realize you never want to move from there, it's your time. Here we go. I'll press some play on some music and we will connect. So, as you arrive to your mat, as always, with that invite to start lying down, using maybe even just a little frame of thanking gravity for the support, this ability to come and be held in a way that sometimes I can feel physically, right? Creating maybe a bit of space and softness in some areas. And goodness, sometimes that support of the back of the head really is like a clue to the brain to also just put things down for a few moments. We talked a few weeks ago about the idea of kind of putting down a heavy backpack, literally setting things aside that might feel like they're weighing you down, even if you just set them right next to you, even if they're just set down for the duration of this practice. But sometimes I find moving here on my mat, I gain new perspective about some of the things I'm carrying that maybe just don't need to be picked back up. Take some time to sway, to move, to breathe, to perhaps with eyes closed, just elevate this appreciation to yourself for making this time for practice. And as always, to move and explore in ways that really feel just satisfying and amazing to you today. There's an invite right from the start to maybe see how it feels to lift the legs up toward the ceiling or sky. So we typically do this as we warm up our bodies for practice, but curious how it feels almost right from the start. And so you might actually let the legs be a little bit heavy and just kind of feel that weight of legs up and that rush of blood to your torso. You might sway and move a bit. There's an offer to find a really gentle kind of scissoring of the legs where one goes a little closer to you, one a little further away. And notice if your arms start to grip. Notice just again, right from the start here, the type of energy that feels lovely to you. This might be just really small, almost like a wiggle to your back. Hi, Michelle. This might be a little bit more exaggerated where you're starting to tune into some attention to your torso, to your core. Take a few more breaths here with legs lifted, and then inviting you to keep the legs up but bend the knees and just kind of move around a bit here. Maybe it's the hips where they almost kind of open and close. It could feel kind of figure eight like. You might start to sway side to side, encouraging you to not really use your arms. So much of this is really active for the body, that wherever you're moving your limbs, your legs, your body has to do the work to create that space and that opportunity. Take a few more rounds of breath, and as you're ready, let's keep those legs up, knees bent. Bring your right hand to gently rest on your left thigh, and then we'll call it a frozen dead bug. We'll extend your right leg out and your left arm away while you press into your left thigh. We're doing this to prevent your left knee from moving closer to your chest. So you might just kind of find this spot. You decide how sassy this is, but I hope you're feeling a little draw of your ribs down so your spine doesn't move. What if you diagonaled both of those limbs just for a few breaths? Make it just a little bit more asymmetrical. Bring everything back. Give the knees a hug, maybe this time with your hands, and inviting you to take, I won't even call it a twist. Let's roll to your left side. You might hold your right knee with your left hand. And then you could certainly explore a little movement of your right arm to create a bit of a rotation in your spine. So the reason I didn't want to call it a twist is that we don't kind of force ourselves into this big rotation, but we rather kind of create that rotation with purpose by using the arm. And then when you're ready, we'll roll back to the center. If you want to set your feet down for a few breaths, we've had them lifted a lot today. Give them a little wiggle maybe, but then we'll take that frozen dead bug on the other side. So eventually legs up, knees bent. Left hand on right thigh. Extending left arm and right, or left leg and right arm away. And again, that push into your thigh prevents the slightest bit of shift that that right leg might want to do. And the offer is to just kind of stay here and feel where it's a little sassy for your body today. Maybe both limbs go out to the diagonal and just see how that feels. What has to turn on to hold them out asymmetrical, and then bring everything back. Give it a hug, give it a rock. Anything else that you could use here while you're on the ground. We didn't really find a lot of length necessarily. So if you want to take a full body stretch or extend one leg out, anything else that you could use. Oh, how about that twist to the right? Let's lift the legs back up and roll onto the right side and take that time to move around maybe through the left arm to find some rotation of your spine. I do really like holding my left knee here. I don't always love knee on knee when we take this twist, but just kind of offering that into the space. Hi, Antoine. And as you feel ready, now we'll roll back to center and then starting to determine what you want to use as momentum to come to be upright, rolling to one side or rocking and rolling along your spine, making your way upright as you feel ready. Perhaps you take a few breaths. I don't have any formal offers here today from sitting. We're going to just start to make our way. Well, yeah, jazz hands. Thanks, Regina. You could take your time to make your way to tabletop. If you want to spend some time sitting and move through your torso, if you like taking time with the knees bent, this is just your progression in a way that kind of lets your heart and head realign. And we'll make our way to tabletop whenever it is that you feel ready. Jennifer, good to see you today. Hi, Charles. Coming to be in your tabletop pose. There's no rush. As you know, these movements are still going to stay just so organically about what you're feeling and noticing today. Setting up your tabletop pose and continuing to take on that kind of perspective of explorer and observer of your body and maybe your brain as well. You might close your eyes here in tabletop, finding shifting movements that continue to expand your spine. You might notice space starting to create around your hips and your shoulders and your neck. Just feel that breath and space take over. Offers here to work through some of our kind of warming flow movements that we do. You can continue to stay in tabletop. Perhaps you even come to the forearms. There's an offer to shift to the belly. So if you'd like to shift forward, I like to pause in knee plank just to really pay attention to spine and back. And you might lower down like a push-up, or maybe it's more of a peel down kind of cobra-esque. And if you're on your belly, any variation of cobra or some shoulder movements, same offers from tabletop or forearms. Just a reminder, the goal of being on the belly is not to have straight arms. So you can certainly find an upright cobra using a press of your arms, but the point is to activate your back body, to feel strength behind your back and your lower back. Activating through the legs. We'll meet in tabletop as you feel ready. So if that means you're coming off of the ground, be thoughtful to lift up using kind of some energy of low ribs, and then a puppy pose, curling toes under in tabletop. Take a stretch and a lift, almost like there's a string at the base of your tailbone that's kind of helping lift you away from the ground and allowing some space for the head to drop through the shoulders, trying to create a little length in your neck and space to breathe. When you're ready, we'll come back to tabletop pose. We're going to work through some grounded movements, really hip strength and spine strength focused. Suggestion to have one block or dumbbell between your hands and one of them next to the left side of your mat, kind of almost near where your right side of your mat, near where your right knee is. And then as you're ready from here, let's lift up from tabletop, almost like a donkey kick of the right leg. So a bent right leg. And can we sway the knee side to side, but do so moving the hip? Now, as we do this, we're going to be super aware of our spine. So as we stay here, I can tell that my ribs start to drop toward the floor and I start to do more of a cow spine. So I'm going to really lift up through my low ribs. What are you noticing in your back? And then when you're ready, let's extend the right leg long, keep it lifted, take just a breath or two, maybe with left arm extended as well. So reversing when we were on our back, now we do balancing tabletop, find a little spice. Left hand down, right toes land long. We're going to turn to supported side plank. I like elevating my left hand, that's why I have a block there, and spin your left knee and your right foot so you're in a side plank facing the right side of your mat. Notice if your left hand is kind of angled away from you. I usually have to move it a little closer to my left knee. Right arm up toward the ceiling, and let's rotate through your spine, sweeping right arm under left. Just a few of these to maybe just rotate your upper body, or maybe your hips are turning as well. It's whatever feels lovely to you while you keep this nice straight line from kind of your right ear to your right foot. And then when you're ready, can we pause, right arm up? Do you think you could lift your right knee off the ground and almost connect right hand to right knee? Could you come onto left fingertips? So what can hold you here if it's not your left hand? Breathe. And then I'm going to lift myself up and land my right foot facing the back of the mat. Yeah. And then some mini warrior twos, shifting your hips out and in. Maybe your arms are kind of in that warrior two variation. Maybe your hands are at your heart center. Take a few more rounds of breath here just to move into those hips a little bit more dynamically. And then let's meet with your weight over your left knee. Turn your right leg long. Again, the toes are going to face the right edge of your mat again. We're going to freeze frame in a hinge for some back strength. You can do hands at heart. Maybe you start with arms reaching and then start to hinge. Send your hips back, and we're just going to land when you feel that energy. This is strengthening your back. If your arms are reaching, that's more of a lever to hold yourself up. So determine what feels best. Use your back body to lift and then continue until your hands are down. Maybe they're on your block or dumbbell. Take a moment here to just kind of wiggle around with the recommendation of maybe a cow and cat. So you get that really long spine, chin up, left hand stays down, open and twist to the right. Let this twist almost feel like a thank you to your spine for holding in that hinge. And maybe again, you come onto left fingertips. So this is really strong, using all of your body, not just your left arm. Let's rotate to bring right hand back down. And then we're going to turn ourselves back kind of how we started, to tabletop with the right leg long. So you're going to have to spin your left knee, tabletop pose, right leg long. Let's lift the right leg, keep it extended. Option for a couple, I call them nosedive push-ups. Dial your elbows close. So as you kind of bend the elbows, you take this sort of nosedive at a slant of your body as though your elbows are going to graze your ribs. Do as many as you like. Maybe you try to hold at the bottom. If I hold too long, I almost feel like I can't get up. So determine if that feels fun. And then when you're ready, we are back in tabletop. So good, everyone. Moving any blocks or dumbbells that are on your mat. And go ahead and take a flow. That might be a return to the belly. That might be a different variation of a cobra. Maybe you want to work more through the hips or even stay on the belly and sway the knees. Feel free to come back to a puppy pose. Maybe you're starting to crave more of a child's pose or even a downward facing dog, recognizing that we're a little uneven right now. So sometimes in child's pose, I can feel the space we've made in the right side body and the fact that we haven't done the left yet. Take a couple of breaths in and out, where breathing is the most interesting thing you could do right now. Breathing. When you're ready, we're back to tabletop pose, and we'll set up for the other side. So one block or dumbbell, again, maybe between your hands, one of them off the left side of your mat, maybe kind of in line with where your knee is right now. From tabletop, lift your left knee, left leg bent like a donkey kick. And then again, we're going to sweep. It's going to feel like the knee is turning left and right, but can you do that from the hip? So we're taking this moment to literally move the hip without letting the back do the work for us. So notice what's happening to your spine. Again, I can tell my temptation is for my belly to drop, so I need to keep lifting up through the low ribs. Take a few more rounds. And then extend the leg long. Keep the left leg lifted and long. Maybe you introduce right arm for a few breaths. Invite wobble. If it feels really wobbly, cheers to that. We're building so much goodness with that. Then right hand back down. Left toes touch long. The leg is still extended, and we'll turn to supported side plank. So right hand might elevate. Spin right knee, spin left foot flat. I'm going to face you. And again, just that little check that your right hand is really straight down from the shoulder. Left arm up toward the ceiling or sky, and maybe you add a couple of rotations. Feeling that opening, maybe shoulder and chest as you rotate toward the ceiling or sky, turning the hips or not, but always feeling like you're really straight from left ear to outer left foot. And then we'll pause, left arm up. Can you start to draw left knee and left hand together? So you're in this kind of freeze frame. This is, again, a little bit of strength here. Use those left oblique muscles. Can you come onto the right fingertips maybe? Yes, and then teeter up to land the left foot toward the back of your mat. Did you sigh like I did? And then we move the hips out and in and kind of this mini warrior two. And you can have those kind of warrior two like arms if that feels delightful, or hands at your heart. And then as you feel ready, we'll put our weight kind of back toward the right knee to re-lengthen the left leg, toes to the side. And again, we're going to freeze frame on our hinge, either hands at heart or maybe they start reaching. And as you hinge hips back, you're reaching forward. And I hope this feels like you have to be strong in your back. So these are the muscles we're trying to build capacity and strengthen so we can counteract that forward posture. Breathe. And then we continue down till the hands land, maybe on block or dumbbell. I really recommend a little bit of cow and cat-like movement because our spine was working so hard. Find that straight, strong spine, right hand down, left arm opens to twist. Again, using this like a rinsing and a thank you to your spine for that strength. Maybe you come onto right fingertips. Breath in and breath out. Let's unwind, left hand down. And then again, we're gonna just kind of do a rewind to walk the hands back to facing front of mat. Spin the right knee as well. So you're back to tabletop with left leg long. Left leg can lift. And then option for those nose dives. And you can stay right here or trying those nose dive push-ups, and you don't have to get a certain distance. Obviously, the farthest you could go is if your nose did touch, but you find that spot, right? Maybe you linger, see how long you can hold. Maybe you're doing just a few of these on repeat, and whenever you're feeling satisfied, do 100 more if you'd like. Come back to tabletop pose. Move any blocks or dumbbells. Take a flow. Rinse it out. You might realize your brain needs more of a rinse out than your body. If that's the case, perhaps you come to stillness. Notice the chatter that's underneath the day. Notice even any of the chatter that might be happening that's analyzing what your body is doing. See if you can dismiss it all with a really thoughtful breath in, a breath out that leaves you feeling a bit more spacious. When you're ready, we're going to make our way back to tabletop pose. We are going to head to stand for a little sequence that, again, will kind of be little moments of strength and stretch. I'm going to set one of my blocks in front of my mat. As we head towards standing at the top of the mat, you could try on a downward facing dog, curl the toes under from tabletop. Remember that sensation we had in puppy pose where you're trying to lift your tailbone like it's even being pulled by a string. Bend your knees so much that you're hinging at the waist, trying to send your low ribs toward your thighs. Can you make this so spacious in your spine that your hands feel like they're doing less work? And you can always keep the knees down. Take a few more breaths here. Maybe you fidget, shake the head yes and no. When you're ready to walk, bend the knees more. Look where you're going. Let the walk be interesting. When you get to the top of the mat, plant the feet. You might even kind of cow and cat again. You might realize you want to be in halfway lift where you're finding that same strength of your back that we practiced in that hinge freeze frame. Maybe you want to go ragdoll style. We do need flexion in the spine, but as we take ragdoll, it's more intentional than just kind of losing our posture. As you're ready to stand, root through the feet. Whether you roll up head last or you reverse swan dive, we use our legs to help our body grow so we're not dumping into the back. Once you're upright, maybe you take a breath in to reach up. Exhale, hands to heart. Suggestion is to have, if you do have blocks or dumbbells, let's frame your feet with your blocks or dumbbells at the highest setting. You may not ever use them, but they'll be placed in a way that if you opt into them, they should be easily accessible. And then from the top of your mat, feet hip distance, let's go ahead and take a sit, a seat. I never know which it should be. Do we take a sit or a seat and chair pose? And I find with this pose, it's as much of a leg potential strengthener as it is back. Can you again feel the lower you sit, there's actually a slight hinge so we don't arch or round. Could you alternate heel lifts? So this is a really interesting test. The reason we try these heel lifts is so we know that we are using back strength in a good way, not relying solely on legs. Can you pause with right heel up, a little more weight in your left foot? Let's step the right toes way back. See if you can lengthen both legs, reach up, separate them left and right a little bit. And I'm going to exhale cactus and bend the knees. And I'm going to go back and forth. Inhale, lengthen and reach. Exhale, drop in. And you can drop in with just the left knee bent or you can bend both legs. Let this be about feel. There's certainly some stretch and strength here, but take a few more breaths. Let's meet tall, stretching floor to ceiling. Hands to heart, plant your right foot, and let's just kind of open the body to the side. I'm somewhat diagonal, toes out, heels in, exploration with some goddess legs. So you might want to just kind of shift around in the legs, hips, all hips. Maybe you want to find revolve goddess. Your spine is really appreciating movement today. You could even go down into goddess and come up into 5-point star. So many ways you can move here. But again, the frame for me, thinking about this being about hips, then I feel like I'm less reliant on my quadriceps. When you feel satisfied, we'll meet with legs tall. Inviting you to actually bring your right foot a little closer to your left. Let's turn back to face the front of the mat. We're going to set up for pyramid. So both feet are flat, but your right foot is angled. Really ensuring that our feet are hip distance apart, railroad tracks. Remember, the goal here is for you to find hopefully a stretch in your left hamstring. Turn your torso to face forward, hinge and lean and stretch. Pause when you feel that left hamstring start to find space. You might set your hands on your left thigh. You might use one or both of your blocks or dumbbells as a support. The hope is that, again, our back is lifted, and it might feel like effort to do that. We could certainly ragdoll here. The part of that I find is the spine defaulting to where it's usually found, and that's more rounded. Keep lifting your left hip up. Find breath, find space. Can you soften your right knee and bend the knee slightly, come onto the toes, and then power up, rise up to stand, right foot next to left. Take a gentle rotation of your spine. Find some breath. We're going to do one more piece kind of this side. You can move to a different place around your mat because this will be a little more balanced. I'll face you, root down into your left foot, lift up your right leg, and you can do this. You could create more of kind of a wind releasing hug for your hip flexor. You could try to go hand to foot behind you for a quadricep stretch. Or anywhere, right? You hear me say this all the time. What you're doing right now does not define your practice. There's not a better yoga class to be had by what you're choosing. My hope is you found a spot where your body said, yeah, that's the stretch for me right now, or that's the thing I want to explore. When you feel satisfied, we'll set right foot next to left. Again, maybe a little march or a wiggle. I'm going to offer, again, spine care. Just standing, reaching up, inhale. Exhale, split the arms, take a twist to one direction. Inhale, reach up, split the arms, twist the other way. And let this be really just kind of gentle. Maybe it feels right to do this literally every breath. So it's an inhale to reach, it's an exhale to twist, right back, or slow things down if your breath cadence feels like it doesn't quite match that. And when you feel ready, we'll meet, hands at heart. You are at the top of your mat. You might still have those blocks or dumbbells next to your feet, but that would be the suggestion. And then once again, let's sit down into chair pose. So as we take a second pass at this, you might notice right away that your body's like, oh, okay, yep, I remember this. And so what with that? Maybe you sit lower. Maybe you feel a more intention again of your spine. And let's again alternate heel lifts. It's that check for our body that we are in fact using the strength we want to build in our back, that we're not relying just on the legs. Can we pause with the left heel lifted? Can you put more weight in your right foot? And can you try to step that left leg back? Of course, adjust where it lands, but then the offer is both legs fairly straight, reach up, and then drop in, cactus the arms. I like inhales to lift and lengthen and exhales to drop. And again, you don't have to move every breath. You decide where is the down. Are you bending just the right leg or both knees? You decide. Let's meet one more time. Lengthen like you're being tractioned and tugged from fingertips, pushing feet to the floor. And then hands to heart, flatten your left foot. Turn your body to face slightly to the left side. I'll face you. And then one more opportunity for the hips if you'd like. So some sort of goddess variation. You can shift and kind of hang out with the knees bent. Again, you've got revolved goddess as an option. Maybe your legs are like, yeah, done. And you want to move the spine. Again, you could take some side bends and not move the legs at all. Tune into you. Notice how it feels to have so much choice. I hope you know you always have choice, but right now it's just really organic. And when you feel satisfied, we rise up tall. Invite to bring your left foot maybe a little closer to your right. So as we turn to set up pyramid, turning back to face the front, right foot forward, left foot is planted, slightly angled. And again, make sure you've got that nice distance left and right between your feet. We're going to try to say hello to right hamstring. We ready? Torso forward. Hinge, lean, like you're stretching your spine front to back as you find your right hamstring. And it doesn't have to be found dramatically, whatever amount of stretch. If you're struggling to find stretch, I'd bring your feet closer. If things feel really tight, change your stride. Again, you can use a block or a dumbbell, but notice the effort that it takes to keep your spine lifted and strong, like you would look like you're standing rather than caving into that posture. Take a few more breaths, really lifting up, right hip up and back. And when you're ready, could we shift and turn onto the left toes, bend the left knee a bit to power off left foot to come to the top of your mat. Give yourself a moment, maybe a little rotation of your spine. And then we'll find a left leg balance stretch. You're choosing more weight in your right foot. Lift your left knee. Maybe you're enjoying the hip opening today. Maybe that kind of standing wind releasing hug, again, where there's a little assist forward, or that sweep behind left hand, left foot for more of a quadricep stretch. Doesn't have to match what you did the first side. You might notice your ability to be stable also might not match today, right? Sometimes there's a little more wobble on one side. Being curious to just notice and smile about observation. And whenever you feel ready, we'll set left foot again next to right. Feel free to rotate, to walk, to find mountain pose. We've done a lot of intentional kind of movement out of shapes. Maybe you just want to pause and let it all land. We're going to come back down as you feel ready. Maybe one of your blocks or dumbbells will actually shift again to be right in front of you. Let's take our time. Big breath up, stretch up. Thoughtful hinge. Feel again, maybe that halfway lift, right? Strong back. Feel free to take ragdoll. So it's not like forward folding isn't valuable, but doing it excessively just feeds into kind of that forward slouch. Whenever you're ready, we make our way to tabletop. Use your blocks, use your dumbbells, using kind of a one limb at a time approach to step back. Once you make it to tabletop pose, take time to do a final flow of your choosing. That might mean just a little bit of time in tabletop and straight to child's pose. Maybe you head back to the belly. Maybe you could use one more downward facing dog. All the things in the repertoire are there for you, including that opportunity again to come to be still. We've had a fairly strong dynamic practice. So even feeling that somewhat contradictory moment of coming to land in stillness. And again, maybe that invite where just intellectually breathing is the most interesting thing you can be doing right now. Let your brain just feel and notice your breath. As you're ready, we come up and through tabletop pose. Probably dropping kind of one hip to the side to be able to come to sit with your feet back toward what has been the front of your mat. And we will take then one more twist to release and thank the spine. Don't need any props unless you'd like them. And as you feel ready, making your way down, you might feel kind of the torso core work that we've done, even right here as you come to lay back down. So just being super thoughtful and mindful, letting your spine re-articulate to the floor. Feeling just, again, that sense of absorption, letting your brain wrap around the fact that, oh my gosh, I was just upright a few moments ago, being all strong and stretchy, and it can land. Take a few moments to maybe sway the knees or lengthen the body, or as always, allowing that space to be still. And to pause. And as you're ready, we will find a different variation of a twist than we did at the beginning. So from both feet planted, knees bent, left leg out long. Maybe give a little rub to that left hip flexor, let it soften. And we'll bring right knee in toward the chest with maybe a gentle connection at shin or back of thigh. And you can stay here. I really like this wind releasing position. It can feel so lovely, and your body might really just react to this. Or you could guide into a twist where your left hand will help your right knee kind of roll to the left side. We've done a lot for the spine. So, really, just kind of checking, does a twist feel like, oh, yep, I do need that? Or again, wind releasing hug is such a great way to soften through hips again, which indirectly shows some same love to the back. If you did take a twist, let's carefully roll back. I encourage you actually to take one more hug of the knee so our back can kind of realign. And then we'll release the right leg into what feels best for you. Maybe it's a full body stretch. Maybe you want to bring the knees to bend. You could certainly take the legs up toward the ceiling or sky again, too. Maybe that would feel really restorative here as a quick little reset. And even with this final pose offering, it can be different on each side. Both feet planted, knees bent. Right leg out long. Take a moment to, again, maybe just use your right hand and just give a little massage to that hip flexor. Starting to draw left knee toward the chest with a gentle hug, maybe at shin or back of thigh. Feel how that response is in your body. Sometimes I can just tell my body sighs here. Feel free to stay or gently guide into a twist. And maybe you kind of try on a twist and realize, no. Even if you twist it on the other side, you're never stuck. So if you try something on and realize, nah, feel free to unwind. Take a few more breaths wherever you chose to be. And if you did twist, I do encourage you to roll back thoughtfully and maybe pause in that hug one more time. And then releasing out of that in a way that feels satisfying. And maybe that release leads you to a moment where we let it all soak in, taking a brief moment or longer if it works for you to land in stillness. Legs could be extended, knees could be bent. You could roll on your side if you'd like. Maybe you bring both hands to rest gently on your body. They could come over your heart or your belly. There's something truly responsive at a cellular level in our bodies when we bring hands to touch. You might just feel that response, that soothing landing. Again, feel free to stay. This rest opportunity is here for you. And so this is where I will extend my gratitude and my thank you for making time for practice so you can linger as works for you. I wish you so much peace and ease in your body and your mind. I look forward to sharing space with you again. The love and light in me honors and bows to the love and light in you. Namaste.